as usual, I did a quick git commit log, group by, all of that stuff, and turns out we've maintained our 100-ish commit per month rate since the last town hall. Again, strong diversity in the contributor base. We've got 20 contributors from 12 different companies, and release 0815 is around the corner. So we're on 14 right now. We'll probably be rolling out 15 next week. Biggest highlights over the past month that we've accomplished. One that you wouldn't have actually noticed at all, which is time series metadata actually got better in the last month. We rolled out support for aggregations, and so our usage stats endpoint, which was a very specific endpoint that we had created for supporting usage stats queries on DataHub, has now been replaced with a completely generic time series backend. And so that's really exciting because it allows us to roll out time series capabilities for all kinds of metadata. Second thing that you probably noticed is fine-grained access control was launched right after the last town hall, and we've been getting feedback and improving it as we go. So love that people are starting to try it out, and looking forward to more feedback and making it better. Third thing, business glossary, we shared it last time, rolled out the basic YAML-based source right after the demo. And we are starting to add some features into the UI to allow you to edit your business glossary or add terms to data sets as well. Three big highlights: product improvements, integrations, and developer experience. So next slide. Product improvements, business glossary. When we first rolled it out, Saxo Bank did most of the work actually on the UI front. So thanks a lot for that, and the modeling side as well. One of the feedback we heard from the community was, hey, this is great, but we really want to be able to add terms right in the UI, just like we can do it with tags. Same for terms at the column level. So we added those capabilities, and so now you can do that. We also split up. People were getting a bit confused about tags and terms together. Like, are these social things? Are these governed things? Not quite sure. So we split them out into two separate areas. And so, we'll keep evolving as we get feedback. Another thing, top right corner, you'll see policies showing up, and that's basically, John's baby. He's driving access control out throughout the whole stack. So please give him feedback, and we're excited to see what you can do with it. So integrations, three big areas of improvement. The big news is Amazon Redshift. We finally have usage source for Redshift. So Chinmay just added that earlier this week. So now you're able to connect to your Redshift warehouse and pull out usage stats. And we'll talk about what that means just a bit later. You can get recent queries as well as top users and things like that. We're covering Looker improvements and changes later, so I'll not get into that. But big changes to the Looker connector have happened, and some small improvements in the glue connector. It wasn't pulling out partition keys in the past. So thanks, Asim, for adding that contribution in. And finally, developer experience. Dexter wasn't able to demo last time at the town hall, but he did a separate video that we put up on the YouTube channel. Highly recommend you watch it. You can now monitor DataHub, front end, back end, everything through Prometheus. And there's some example Grafana dashboards, so you can actually monitor the health of your DataHub cluster. It's pretty nice. We're starting to roll it out on our SaaS deployment as well. The other few things that were just annoyances that we solved were, when the metadata service would start, you would always find kind of an empty store problem. Data platform logos wouldn't be rendered and things like that. So we added support to Bootstrap common data platforms on startup. So that way, when you finally ingest your metadata in, the logos are right there for you. The DataHub CLI, which you probably are very familiar with, now supports environment variables for unattended runs. So you don't have to sit at your terminal and confirm that you really want this particular GMS host to be used and things like that. So thanks to Asim for contributing those features. And last but not the least, we are finally very proud to announce the official release of our GraphQL API. And I'll hand it over to John to cover that.
Hey guys, I just wanted to give a quick update on the state of DataHub APIs overall, including the GraphQL API. there's been a lot of questions recently about, what is the primary programmatic API that we should be using to build on top of DataHub. And I think as of this week, we are kind of making GraphQL that API. As part of that, we've done a lot of work recently to improve the API. If you wouldn't mind, Maggie, clicking enter, I think we should. Yeah, so we have a few major recent developments on the API. We actually extracted it from the front-end server, which is now becoming more of a pure proxy web server, which will just serve the React bundle and then proxy to the metadata service. So we've extracted from the front-end service and moved that back to the metadata service. So now the GraphQL API is exposed at that backend layer where you're probably used to querying our legacy REST API. We've refactored it for consistency and cleanliness. The last 9 months, we've built a lot of features. So we built them very quickly. We had to do a quick pass over that. So we've deprecated a bunch of fields that we're using in the UI and made it more easy for programmatic consumption. The third thing is we added some rich documentation to the API. As part of this, we have auto-generated docs that will now show up on the DataHub Project IO website. That'll show all of the GraphQL queries and mutations and types in our schema, hopefully making it really easy for you to get up and running against that GraphQL API pretty quickly. There's a lot more we want to do here. So I'll just quickly mention a few points on the vision. We really want GraphQL to be the primary programmatic interface to the metadata graph for various reasons. One of them being that GraphQL actually serves the use case of querying the graph really well, because you can get multiple entities and traverse the graph's edges in one query, as opposed to having to make multiple queries that you would have to do in a traditional REST API. We want to have robust authentication and authorization sitting at the GraphQL layer itself inside of the metadata service for both service use cases as well as the users coming from the UI. So this GraphQL API will serve as a general purpose API that's shared between both the React UI as well as programmatic use cases. And then finally, we want to start to build out that ecosystem of client SDKs that are built on top of the GraphQL API. So you can imagine maybe a Python SDK repository and a Go SDK and a Node SDK that makes it really, really easy to really interact with that DataHub metadata graph from wherever you are. So I think we're really, really excited about this, and we're really interested in feedback as well as contribution from the community to help make this vision a reality. There's a lot of work left to do, a lot of additional use cases that we can build into that API. So really looking for support from the community on this. You can just hit enter again, Maggie, and I think there's maybe one last thing. Yeah, so to learn more, check out the new GraphQL reference guide on the DataHub Project IO website. We've got an overview of GraphQL, of our endpoint, and then a reference, an auto-generated reference for the entire schema. So again, really excited about this. With that, I will hand it back to Shirshanka.
Cool. All right, and so one of the things we love doing, this is my favorite part, is recognizing all of the people who are actually making this project a success and this community a success. It's actually quite a few people. So I just want everyone to notice how, we started out with maybe recognizing 3 or 4 people, and then 6 or 7 people, and look at the number of people we've gotten in our community that are actually contributing in different ways. Abu, Asim, Claudio, Enrico, Frederick, all of you have been adding in very interesting and important features to and improving the code as you go. And on the community side, we've continued to see a lot of engagement, both from people who are starting to adopt and asking interesting questions, people who are asking directional questions like Alice and Jim and Martin, and then also people who are actually helping out individuals who are having problems like, Excel, Asim Bansal. There are a few of these folks, Frederick, who are really showing up as community leaders and really helping folks out in their DataHub adventures. So thanks a lot for all of the support, and we really love the kind of energy we're seeing in the community, and it's only going to get better.